Hey everyone, before I start this podcast, you just have to look. Like, skin looks gorgeous right now. I'm wearing the crystal jeans. Anyways, let me get back. Hey guys, welcome back to the No Bueno podcast. I am so happy to film a second episode for you, and I was going to do it regardless whether you guys liked the first one or not, because I just like posting online, and what a beautiful digital diary to have all of my secrets and stuff stored online. So today we're going to be talking about my dating life, or just dating life in general, any advice that I could give to you, or any experiences that I have that I can just share with you, because I have a lot of story times in this episode that actually have to deal with theft and like having possibly like my own Dateline television and like very questionable decisions that I could tell you guys not to do. Obviously the first episode I talked about just gay culture in general and what was like my life growing up, and I dabbled in a few facts about like what am I doing to get back into the dating life and ways that I'm not hooking up on the first date and trying to just become a better person in a relationship and actually look for something genuinely meaningful in the long term instead of short term. So today we're just going to be talking about a lot of topics, and I am so excited. But anyways, side quest, I went to the gym today. Not that you anyways, yeah. This first topic we are just kind of gonna dabble in is what I've been up to. So personally, I just kind of, not really, I didn't bomb an ecology exam. I've studied all week for it, and I was like, oh, I'm so prepared. And when I flipped open the textbook, or when I flipped open the test booklet, I fell to my knees in the Walmart parking lot. It was just like something that I've never seen, so foreign, and and when I turned in the test, I talked to my professor, and I was like, hey, by any chance, are like all the test exams the same, or is any more difficult than the other? And he's like, nope, they're pretty much all the same. Obviously, he wasn't going to answer that question, but I was just like, I need to ask. So that's what I've been up to. And I've been going on a few little dates here and there, and nothing really serious is really going on in my life. I kind of just want to be alone right now, and that's something that I am very content with. I know that there are a lot of people who like being in a relationship immediately, like even after they break up, they're like, all right, like what's the next move? Like what can I, let's get active again. Personally, that was me as soon as I broke up. Well, she did on my ex, but it was like, that was me, and I was like rushing to find love, because I had lost that and it wasn't the same. And then I went to find so many different boys to get something that I would want out, but in actuality, that's just, you need time to be alone and think about what happened from the last relationship and what can you do moving forward, and how can I become a better person from that lesson. Anyways, so I have been, dating, and I would say I haven't really got with anyone on the first date either lately, and even just like hookups in general. Like I've been just trying to have self-respect, and this is something that my mom is trying to engrave in my mind, and finally I know now. But she just wants me to respect myself, respect my health, and if you're gonna do this, you have to do this the right way. Like that's something that we both agreed on. Like if I'm gonna be gay, like I need to be the most successful gay person. I need to have a beautiful husband. I need to have a beautiful life. I can't be, not no shame, but like I can't be like a stripper. Like I can't be an OnlyFans. I can't be a little thotty. I can't just be a really, not a bad person, but ideally something that my parents would be proud of is what they're kind of more towards pushing me to. And that's something that I'm starting to understand now and realize a lot more. Not saying, and I'm going to preface this now, and it's like, I'm not saying like I'm the holy Jesus and I know absolutely everything and I'm absolutely perfect. That's actually not true. I've lived through so many traumatic experiences that I can't even count on one hand, and nothing's perfect. Whatever I post online, I am perfect, but I'm actually not. I'm just as awful. I'm just as much of a failure. Like people mess up all the time. Like people make mistakes. The only thing that you can do is learn from those mistakes. So yeah, that's basically what I've been up to. It's just more keeping my own self-respect, almost, is what I could say. Alright, so now we can talk about my favorite topic, and I honestly, to this date, probably one of my like favorite like dates that I've ever went on, like boy-wise. So I went on a date on Valentine's Day, and you guys can watch the vlog because I even put it in there. But on Valentine's Day, I wanted to go on an actual date with some guy. I wanted to find actual love, be in a relationship, go into it the normal way, don't really hook up. I think I've went on 2 dates with this guy. He is super cute, and I just wanted to have like a real relationship. So treat him like a normal person. So instead of just expecting like, I am friends with some people that just kind of treat people like bodies, which is not really, which is kind of like what I used to do too at the same time. But in actuality, like, that's not how real love starts. That's not how good stable relationship starts. And maybe I may be a complete liar. Everybody works at their own different pace and their own different settings. But personally, me, I want to be in a long-term relationship that has, that I can find a future partner out of, and that I could do stuff that I like with, and also we could have mutual respect towards each other, because I feel like that's what I had in my last relationship, except it was almost like a speed trial run. So I didn't really get to do everything that I would have wanted to do in the first place. So again, like taking this guy on a date, I ended up paying for the bill. I didn't hook up with him for the first 2 dates. Again, we still haven't had our third yet, but at the same time, we're extremely busy people. But maybe the next time. But like at the same time, it's just like I didn't feel comfortable with, wanting to just like hook up with this person, because I actually have been IG friends with them for like maybe like a few years now. So it's like I wasn't really looking for like another body or anything of the sort. Like I wanted something real, which is why I took him on the dates. I bought him flowers. I wanted to just spend genuine time with this guy instead of just going to a house for like 15 minutes and then leaving, and then it just wasn't the same thing that I was currently looking for. But I did find it towards him. Unfortunately, like, we are extremely busy, so I haven't gotten to finish that part of the relationship yet, so that's fine. And like, I did want to take him to Puerto Rico, because I did go to Puerto Rico for my fraternity, and I was allowed 1 date, and I told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to Puerto Rico in May, even though it's like March. I was like, but I would love to go with you. Unfortunately, it just didn't really align that way, and I took my little instead. And I mean, I love you, Bella, but I would have loved, I'm kidding now, but I would have liked to take another guy somewhere. But good thing I didn't, because without her I would have been so lost, and I don't think I would have had that much of a good time. Valentine's Day was cute. Oh my god, something that else I can even say is that I made this kid chocolates. Like, and this was when Valentine's Day chocolates were like scarce. Like, this was the day before, and I was like, oh fuck. I even bought this kid chocolate croissants to make, but I didn't make it because I didn't realize you had to leave it out overnight. But I made this kid chocolate covered strawberries, and I got white chocolate from CVS. I smashed it up, cut it up, shredded it, then I melted it, and then I dyed it his favorite color. And I was like, do you want like red or blue? Like, pick a color. We didn't end up picking, but I ended up choosing pink because it was Valentine's Day. I don't know why I would have done blue, but I don't know. But I made chocolate covered strawberries for this guy. Like, he got me a necklace. Unfortunately for me, I think it kind of tarnished a little bit too quickly, so it's just sitting on like my tree in my room almost. Like, maybe if I do a room tour you'll see it. But he left a necklace with like C on it. I thought it was so cute, and it was just a really good, respectful relationship, is something that I could say. And that's what I would wish on all of my friends. I don't wish anybody a shitty dating experience. I want people to go through, especially the gay community, I want people to go through the gay community through a non-toxic situation where people just, I don't know, I've already talked about it already, and I won't get too in-depth in it, but it's like, I wanted to find real love. I know what I'm looking for and what expectations I need. I know what boundaries I have. I know what expectations my family, let alone not even myself, but my family has for me. And I feel like that is also what is making me grow a little bit more starting now throughout this year. And I would say 2022-23 was probably a really rough year, and I wasn't really looking for relationships at the time. I mean, I probably was, but in all the wrong places, speaking of. But yeah, that's basically what I could say about that scenario, and any advice that I get to give to you and going into a really healthy, stable relationship, because I don't want to have like cheating wavelengths and us having on and off. Like, I'm sick of that shit. I want to have a stable, beautiful relationship that can grow. Anyways, speaking of surrounding myself with all the wrong areas about where I did not need to be, and thank God I did not follow along that path anymore, and I'm a little bit more grown and understanding of what I'm looking for. But back then, this was probably last year, beginning of last year almost, I would say, because I still had red hair, I think. But there's this kid, his name's ahah. You can just fill in the blank for the other beginning half, but Anyways, or Jupiter. Like, I saw he's like, I don't know, stage name, but that's his Tinder now in Orlando. Whatever, I don't care. Anyways, this kid, we went on a few first dates. It wasn't that bad, but at the same time, it was just very awkward. I think the first time we hung out, we actually hooked up, which is, again, not where I was really looking for. And then we decided to go hang out with his friend. So we met this girl at, there's this thing called Waterford Plaza, like near I live. And it's just like a shopping plaza with like Ross, Target, TJ Maxx, like all of the mom shops that you would likely go to. So anyway, this individual wanted to go to Ross, and I was like, okay, fine, we can go to Ross and we can just meet up your friend there. While I'm in Ross, I knew he had a stealing problem because he would also tell me about it. Like, I'd pick him up and he'd be like, oh, I got like all of this stuff from like Target, but I was like, oh, did you buy it? And he's like, no. So already that was probably one of my biggest red flags, that I probably should have paid attention. If I don't steal, I don't steal it, and I would rather you buy it than steal it. And I think I, even a few times of when I knew he was stealing, I offered to pay because I was like, don't steal that, because if I get in trouble, it's gonna be your fault. And then like, what do? Like, I'm not gonna take the fall because you just want to have him to steal. Anyways, we're in Ross, and this kid, I walk away, I was like, hey, like, don't steal, like, you can walk around with your friend. Obviously, I'm not going to patrol another person of the same age. That makes no sense. You should just be able to be very responsible to begin with, to also have the what's it called, the moral of to not steal and just buy things. Anyways, this kid, he ended up stealing a lot of stuff from Ross, and that just turned me off immediately. And I was like, all right, like, you can't keep me doing this. Like, if I'm gonna hang out with you, just don't do it again. Anyways, he got better. He stopped stealing, thank God, to my knowledge. But like, currently now, I can't speak for him. But he did stop stealing. We did have a stable relationship. We hung out for like a few weeks, and I brought him around to my fraternity's bar. Like, I brought him out to social events. We went out to Southern Nights. Speaking of, anyways, when I was actually at Southern Nights, and I'm going to be jumping off around everywhere, but when I was at Southern Nights with this kid, and this is again with my ex, he saw me at the bar with this kid, and since again I was a frequent visitor of this one bar in Orlando, he was close to the security guard, so he saw that I was making out with this kid on the dance floor, just like, we were just feeling the moment, like we were in the moment. And he took me outside and was like, is this really what you want? Like, is this what you want to do? Like, I can't believe you do this to me. Like, that, this is like my day. No one can really claim a Saturday night, like, let alone if you claim a day at the club. Anyways, you can't like claim a day at the club. That just doesn't make sense unless you're paying their own bills. Then he tells the security guard escorts us out. Like, he shines a flashlight, and I thought it was because I was giving him alcohol. But no, it wasn't. This security guard was like, okay, like, we have a harassment claim. Like, he literally full on went to me and my date, was like, okay, like, we have a harassment claim, like, you need to leave. And I was just like, harassment claim? Like, I haven't, talked to anybody. I didn't even push anybody, nor assault, harass any of the sort this one person, or any people, let alone to begin with. And then they just kicked us out. And immediately I knew that because it was close with the security guards that he was able to get the people, because I ended up finding out that he was like crying at the bar, and he was just really upset, and the security guard and his bar friends were like, oh, like, what's up, like, let me, like, what's the matter, like, what can I do? And then they're like, well, my ex was making out with a guy, and they're like, well, let's kick him out. So they kicked me out of that club. So fuck you and the security guards for doing any of that. We have apologized about this one scenario and us happening it together at the same time, but when I think about it now, are you like moving forward with that one experience? Anyways, I left this kid in my room. Well, I went to class because he would sleep over, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna go to class, then I can come back, and then we can hang out for the rest of the day. I did that a few times, but the one time, which is towards the last times that I've ever saw him, is I had this bracelet. Again, like the good, like, Tory Burch thing. It's not Cartier, but the only difference is you can take it off with a little thing. So and I was like, all right, let me take my bracelet off, because like when someone's underneath you, like, it just hurts. Like, you just, I'm not gonna walk you through everything that I do, but when it was just annoying, so I put it onto the side, and then that was it. That was the last time I ever saw it. didn't fall on my floor. I deep cleaned my room. I looked everywhere. I know I didn't wear it anywhere. I knew why I took it off, because I was having S, and I was like, all right, like, let me not like have that on. Like, it's not cute. Anyways, there were a few days later, we ended up breaking up because of several reasons. I was just like, okay, you're a Steeler. I don't think I could like somebody like you, and I just thought long term it just is not gonna work out like that. And then I got blocked, cursed out, spread my own personal business everywhere, and I swear to you, I think he stole, because why would I leave a kleptomaniac who is known for stealing things? And I even like told him about like the value of what this was to me, and I put it on the nightstand, and then it was just gone. So that's just kind of my little insight of having a klepto in your room. Don't do it, because it's just not smart. It's something that I would have looked back. It's even something that I could just look back right now, and I wish I just punched myself in the face. Like, you stupid idiot. Like, why would you do that? That's so dumb. I just... It's mind-boggling to me. And now I don't take off my jewelry when having any of the sort with anybody. It's just, if it's there, it's there, and if it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt. I'm so sorry. But it's like, I'm not getting robbed again. I wish him the best. And this learning experience was actually something that I wish I personally didn't even have to experience, but unfortunately I get the kind of short end of the stick sometimes, and that just happens. Anyways, so we're gonna also talk about setting non-toxic boundaries, which again would have saved me so much time, but here we are. And today we're just gonna talk about it. But one of the non-toxic standard boundaries that I could possibly talk about is don't be rude to anybody who is trying to flirt with you, let alone also trying to be your friend. And that is not judging people, I would say. And I get it, like, it's very easy to judge, but at the same time, you don't know what the other person's going through. You don't know their own backstory, so it makes no sense for you to just lash out on somebody or disrespect somebody. And I feel that I used to have that a little bit, but then when I started watching a little bit more, seeing story times, TV shows of just people talking about their own shitty experiences, it made me feel like I was part of the problem. And I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be somebody that helps people. I want to be something that people look up to at the same time, but also, like, again, I am your friend, like, but I just didn't feel comfortable with saying, like, preaching how good the community was when I was actually part of the problem. So that made me want to stop a lot more and treat people with respect. Again, not hooking up on the first date. Like, even that, like, some people, to each their own, and that's okay, but like, I wanted to just have a good relationship with somebody. And also, same thing with setting also non-toxic boundaries is also just respect yourself in general. And I know it's like the pot calling the kettle black, and like me being like, oh yeah, like me, so like, no, like, I used to just hook up with people just for fun, and I didn't realize how much of a toll that would take on my body, but also, like, not saying I'm ran through, but it's like, I just didn't get anything positive out of that relationship to where I needed to set like respectful boundaries. And again, like, if someone is trying to force something on you and trying to make you do something or make you do something that's uncomfortable, just be like, hey, I am not comfortable with doing that. And that's okay. And whether if they respect that boundary or not, if they don't respect their own personal boundary from the get-go, like, you need to leave this person. And I know it's a lot harder than it is. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but at the same time, it's like, it's my own personal well-being. I live on this earth once. I am allowed to think how I'm allowed to think. If someone's not really going to respect that, then kindly, I'm just going to walk away, and that's okay. But just respect to yourself. And I'm also thinking about, like, even if I get into a relationship and it goes pretty well, and marriage and stuff like that, I'm also thinking about what will my family members think. Like, I know, like, a lot of people are like, well, who cares what your family member thinks? But it's like, I'm also very close with them, and I want to have a good relationship with my family, and I want to be liked. I don't want to be exiled from them, because I've seen it happen already before with several other people, cousins and individual wise. And it's just that they didn't feel comfortable bringing their set person around because of specific boundaries. Anyways, I'm not going to get too into that, but that is also, like, I just also think about my friends, and that, like, if I were to get with this person or start talking to this person, like, what would they think? Like, every time I start talking to a guy, I show one of my friends beforehand and like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, just give me a little rate, because if I, at the end of the day, like, I'm allowed to feel like how I'm allowed to feel, but at the same time, I'm always still at the same time thinking about what are other people constantly going to think. And sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to bring someone home for Thanksgiving and then have like my mom pull me aside in the other kitchen and be like, wait, what the, like, what is that? Like, what is this? Or I just don't want people to be disappointed for me or feel pity or anything of the sort. I don't know. I just wanted to have a really good relationship with my family, and that's kind of those standards that I'm trying to bring in a little bit more. Personal hobbies. So this is something that I could, and about dating life. So I really love surfing. I love going to the beach. My ideal first date, you know, hang out, spending time alone is going to the beach. I love going to Boca Raton Beach. I won't say that one specific beach because I am going to gatekeep, and also where I live in Hutchinson Island. It's just that I have a lot of time to reflect about everything that I've ever really possibly done in my life. And that's the thing about hobbies, is like also learning to love yourself first before you get back into a relationship. Like when you're heartbroken, like it takes time to, you know, not think about this person and starting to like yourself again, instead of rushing back into a toxic community or just a community where it's not really what you're exactly looking for, let alone need as a well-being to grow probably. That's also like hobbies, because it takes your time and your mind away from all of this stuff. And even going through my breakup, I would go to the beach, I would, you know, I would drink, I would just spend 6 to 7 hours there, from maybe 11 to 4, like I don't know how many hours those are. It's the same thing with personal hobbies and learning to love yourself. So I love surfing, I love doing art, I love also studying for my own personal business that I want to grow, so I'm doing research at the same time. Hobbies as hanging out with friends, going to the gym. When I was in a relationship, I got fat because all I would do is just drink at the beach, go to CC's Pizza, and then I would do the same exact thing at night, going to the gay club. Like I was skinny and fit, and then it was just so many toxic behaviors of, not toxic, but not really healthy behaviors that I kept doing that made me get really, you know, skinny fat as a term is like where you're skinny, but like you also have a lot of fat in your body. And I think that's something that I wanted to change as well. So I started going to the gym. I finally started like getting a chest, building up my biceps, like just taking care of my own personal body that I didn't even used to before. Stop hooking out with people, like that health, diseases pass around very quickly. Like I wanted to just start building more respect for myself and, you know, be like radiate energy that attracts people. Like I don't want to chase people. I want to be myself, and this may be like myself as a Leo, but like also like when I'm trying to build a brand at the same time. And that's also like why I'm posting on social media so much, is that I'm trying to build a following for whenever I do release a product, it doesn't become a failure, but it's like people who learn to like me are like, oh, like I want to see like what he has. And that's kind of like what I've been doing on the side thing. And that's just also some advice that my ex gave me, is because he had his own like very successful account, like couples account. Like I wish I could open a couples account, but at the same time I just would never ever do that. But he like told me exactly what I should do, and I've been doing that, and I would say that I'm growing pretty steadily. I want to go on Instagram because I believe it's a lot more timeless than TikTok. I definitely think that TikTok might go away soon, so I'm just focusing my time on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, that's basically part of my own hobbies that I do. And even fraternity life, like I rushed after a breakup, which was a great time because I got to meet new people. I got to talk to people who even experienced the same experience things as me, like, and I just got to meet so many new friends to where I didn't have any of those like not toxic thoughts, those negative thoughts about my past relationships and what I could do better. Because at the same time, like I get it, like everybody wants to jump into it immediately and assess everything and just think you're okay in the next month, but it takes time for any of that. So I'm glad that I did a lot of hobbies to take my mind off of that and still grow as a person and find my own hobbies, because the last thing I want to do is constantly follow somebody around and have no life for myself. I want to have my own personal life from my partner and just, you know, have my own hobbies, you know, like, and I get it, some people like being like neck to neck with their person. At the same time, I need my own personal space. So next we're going to talk about how to keep moving forward with rejection. And honestly, I got rejected so many times. Not rejected because I never went up to somebody and I was like, oh my god, like let's date or whatever. Like I don't really get rejected, but there are people who do ignore your DMs and just don't match with you on Tinder and, you know, post about like, oh, I like this person. I just had like, oh, I just had like my internet crush post about how he's into men in his 30s and like have like a dad bill. Like, fuck, like that. Like, I'm gonna stand up for this. Do you see? Like, I am a twink, and I would like to say that I'm not, but unfortunately, I think that's just the category that I happen to fall into. But what I can say about rejection, and not all of it has to be negative or positive. Even like some people, like you have to have the same looks. You have to have certain looks to be even approachable to some people, let alone desirable. So the one thing I could say is that you will find love eventually, and whoever is going to love you is not going to start with a toxic backstory. They're going to love you for you again. So, you know, and if somebody says something different or negative about you, the only thing that you can think about is like maybe they're jealous, or how, oh my gosh, like I'm just like, how to move forward with rejection. It's just not everybody's built the same. Some people are going to be genetically gifted, but the one thing I'm going to be is not, hate myself about it, because the one thing you do is just think so negatively about that, because it's only going to cause you to spiral even more. You have to learn to love yourself, love your features, love who you are as a person, love your personality. And I guess like something that I could stress that I wish I had is that I wish I had huge genetics. I wish my nose wasn't that fucking bumpy, but here we are today. I'm stuck with it. Rhinoplasty surgery on the way. But, there are just so many beauty expectations that you cannot put yourself in a corner and think like, why am I not this? Why am I not? Think about what you are and what you have to offer. Because if you start thinking about the strengths about yourself, like I'm a good leader, like I'm very confrontational. I would say that I'm very, not outgoing, but I'm very talkative, social. It's like, work on those own strengths that you have. So work on boosting your strengths. And if you're funny, be funny. Like some people, like, and I hate saying this, but like some people that are just naturally pretty end up being like, again, kind of the shittiest people you ever meet. Learn to love yourself, and that's how you're going to attract people who you do want to be attracted to. Don't be butthurt if someone says they don't love you. Only be like, okay, well, fuck that. You missed out on a great person. Because now that I think about it, who I was 2 years ago, being rejected and in such a toxic scenario, is that right now I'm the healthiest I probably have ever been in so long. I'm the happiest. I'm the most content with being alone right now. I don't mind being alone. I love being alone. I'd rather spend my own personal time doing something that I think is worthy for my attention versus just having something that's very half-assed, something that I just don't see working out in the long run almost. And there are some people that may watch this that are like, oh my god, like I wanted to hang out with you but I never got the chance to, or you're such a flaker. It's just, again, I'm so busy, or maybe I'm even scared because like I'm not even sure if that's something that I want to do right now. And I could say it obviously from the start, but at the same time I am looking for something. It's just not until the right moment where I have huge anxiety and it's like, oh, okay, like I'd rather be anywhere else than hang out with this one person. Not in a negative way, it's just I personally like want to be alone. Like, I don't know. I think I've told my friends to just deck me in the face if I happen to get with this one person every time again. Like, there's just sometimes you just can't be saved. But from what I could say is having strong values will save you plenty of time and put you in scenarios to where you are. Because honestly, I feel like I've been attracting more people lately, and not in an aspect of like that I'm desirable, but like at the aspect of that I know they have almost the same goals as me and they're looking for the same exact thing. So once you start having that mindset and thinking about stuff like that, you will attract the people who you want to be attracted with. Anyways, so, and that's the same thing with how to put yourself first in fortunate and unfortunate situations. It's just that there was, again, the guy who told me he had something and then I had to get a shot. I don't have that. Let me put that on the record. But I had issues with I had multiple scares with my own personal health due to somebody else being very dangerous, and I had to cut that person off because at the same time it's just, it may feel like it's love or if it's the most beneficial thing at that time, but it's not. And you are allowed to live how you like. 75 million people at least like you. You're in I think so, or I think it's 75,000. But you're in a world with 8 billion people. Like, you are going to run into so many people. So whoever you meet yesterday, who cares? Like, keep moving forward and meet as many people as possible. Like, you're going to, like, that's why I don't want to necessarily like date people in my hometown, is that I want to find other people. I want to explore the world and meet people of different kinds. It's just, I don't know, that's basically one of the benefits with cutting off toxic people. And that, I don't know, that's just something that also really stuck with me. And there's just some people who don't have the same respectful boundaries of you, or even, you know, like put you in really dangerous scenarios, like your own health, your own personal record. Like, there's just some situations where you need to cut off that individual, and it may be the end of the world, but again, the world's going to move on with or without you, so the one thing you want to do is not get left behind. And that's something that I'm always constantly thinking about. It's like, I know, like, it hurts that putting in all this time into somebody, and if it doesn't work out, it happened for a reason. There was a reason that it didn't work out. Learn from that reason of why it didn't work out and carry it on to the next relationship. Not that habit, but learn that of what that lesson was to you almost. So it's like hooking up on the first date and then you get ghosted. You're like, oh fuck, like maybe I shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with putting yourself first in unfortunate/fortunate situations. And, you know, and let's say I'm and there's been several instances where I was at work or I was on another date with another guy, but again, I was still single at this time. I was allowed to do what I want to do, but there are just toxic people. There was this one guy who's like, I called every single hospital in your area and nobody like found you. Like, what is up? Like, where are you? And it's like, at the same time, no, you didn't, and that takes plenty of time, let alone I don't even know at the hospitals to get back to you that quickly. So it's like, there are just people who will say so many things to kind of court you into a corner, and just the one thing that you need to have is just self-respect to realize that that is not beneficial for me. And even, yeah, just that, I just like got like war flashbacks a little bit, but it's like, there are just certain people that will not allow you to think first for yourself. And the one thing that you could think about is that, and even with some of my coworkers, they would tell me about how toxic their boyfriend is, and they could be a completely straight couple. This isn't only just gay people, this is also people in general. But there was this one individual, she was like, honestly, like, I don't think he loves me anymore. And I was like, girl, why are you fucking there? Like, you only live once, and the one thing I want to do is be under someone else's control, when I am totally, in the whole entire time, have always been in control of my future. So it's like, I'm not going to have somebody else dictate what I should and shouldn't do. And maybe if they're like a law officer or somebody of law, but it's like, I'm not gonna let a nobody determine my situations and my life towards their own world, because I only live once. I want to do things that I want to do, and if that requires me to be single and set respectful boundaries, so be it. And that's what I think that my mom is also trying to drill in my head now, and that's something that I'm starting to learn a lot more. I've deleted Grindr. I've stopped hooking up with people pretty much in general. Like, I've been thinking about my own personal well-being and my future, about what I'm exactly looking for, and it saved me so much time in the dating world, I would say. So yeah, that's basically what I've been trying to talk about, of like, oh, like my own dating life, like what are expectations, what are boundaries that you could be setting. And like, I know I am not the Jesus of dating. I know I'm not the wisest person. I haven't made the most beneficial choices in my life, and I could look back at that now and just think about how those were all learning lessons to get where I am today. And some people mature at different speeds, and I'm really grateful that I'm coming to terms with all these, you know, respectful boundaries and situations about my personal self before it's too late, where I'm, you know, in an alley, where I'm in a ditch, where I'm dead. It's like I have my own Dateline special. And whether you guys listen to my advice or not, I'm just saying about what a sane person is probably thinking. And I know maybe other people definitely agree. I've definitely explained a lot of this to my friends by now, and we're like, yeah, like what you're saying is completely true. Okay, yeah, so that's basically gonna be the end of the video. I know I said a lot of stuff, so whatever you learn from it, you learn from it. I hope you guys take my advice. If not, next episode is going to be about high school. I'm so excited to film that because there's a lot to explain. Don't forget to comment, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye.